This is Andrew Wicklund with Project Risk Consultants. We're going through step 3 of the risk analysis process, so we've gone through the histogram chart. We've seen where we're at. We've gone through the tornado chart. We've kind of seen how to fix it. Now what we're looking at is running what-if scenarios. So there's two bits to this. The first is the process and how you're going to run the what-ifs. What makes sense? How are you going to work backwards? Because if you do too many mitigation steps at once, you can't really see what part of the mitigation helped you and what part didn't. So we'll go through the mitigation steps, how we're going to do it. Now I've got 3 plans open already, so I've got 3 scenarios. One without risk events, one with just some uncertainty, one with risk events that I didn't mitigate, and then some scenarios where maybe I need to, I've done some mitigation, but maybe I'll need to mitigate it some more. So in our original scenario, we were going to be 206 days late. So we've run the risk analysis on each of these projects, and what we've been looking at are the is the milestone or the activity for final report. So what I'm going to do is look at the histogram for this final report. I'm going to do this in my 3 different scenarios. And one of the easiest ways to pull this chart, I go in, right click on it, go to the distribution. So once again, this is my where am I at, my histogram chart. And what I really want is this S-curve right here. If I click add to distribution analyzer, it's going to put this in my distribution analyzer so I can view these side by side. So I'm going to go ahead and click add to analyzer. Now if I click show analyzer, that curve is up here. If I close out of that, I can add another curve. And I can see 2 curves side by side. Well, it's great that you can see the curve side by side, but what do we want to show side by side? Well, we're looking at how to save 206 days from our project. So what I need to do is look at the same activity across multiple scenarios and show you for each mitigation step what I got. So what I'm going to do under the File menu in the Distribution Analyzer, I'm going to go ahead and clear this report. And I'll close out of this. I'll click Yes to save the changes, so we're going to leave this blank. Now I've got the example EPC plan, and I've taken this from step 1 through 7 now. If you've been going along, you might have these 3 plans open: your original, your pre-mitigated, and your post-mitigated. I'm going to go ahead and open up the distribution analyzer. You can see this to the right here as well. I'm going to click this, and it says I have no data. Would I like to import? I'm going to click no just to show you where the import is under the File menu, Import Data. So I'm going to click File and then Import Data, and it shows that I have 3 files open. Now up here it shows all the open projects. Below that it shows what my common tasks are through these projects. So if I have another plan open and it has no common tasks, it'll show that I have 0 common tasks. It'll just show entire plan is the only thing I could do that was common. So what I want to do, and I'll just run a schedule curve for now, not a cost curve, but you can run cost curves, etc. What I'm going to do is take in this final report milestone. If I wanted to take more over, I could do that as well. But I want to generate a finish date curve for each one of those. So I've got my original plan, my pre-mitigated scenario, and my post-mitigated scenario. So I'm going to add final report and import the data. So I've got 3 curves up on this now. And if I wanted to, I could go back and import more data and say, okay, now I want a cost curve for the entire plan. So I'm going to select entire plan, and I'll put up some cost curves as well. So you can see in the bottom left hand corner now I have my finish date curves, I have my cost curves, and then I can show all the curves side by side. Now it can get kind of confusing. However, how do you want to present this data? You're looking at, I can show any curve I want side by side. So now I need to gear this towards my audience. So I'm going to go up to the Format menu, And if I look at the graph, I can go into the bars. I'm going to not show the bars for now. I'm just going to show the curves. This is going to make a little bit more sense for my audience, so I'm just going to show the curves here. So I needed to save 266 or 206 days originally, and I look, and I'm going to hide my original scenario with no risk. It doesn't mean anything to me right now, so I'm going to hide that green curve. What this shows me is that green curve, based on productivity and uncertainty alone, it pushed me out. Now when I added risk events, it pushed me an extra 232 days out. So when I lost 206 days, 232 of that was due to my risk register. Now your based on any project, this could be different. Maybe my uncertainty cost me 20 days, my risk register cost me 30 days. But by seeing these curves too, I can start to comprehend how much savings I could have. So I look at this and I say the risk register alone at an 80% or a 90% confidence level, we'll look at 80%. That's 197 days. So I need to save 206. 197 I can save right in that risk register. Depends on the project. So I'm going to go through and look at my mitigated scenario. And now I put some mitigations down, and it saved me 134 days. So really I needed to save 206 days. Well, I've gotten 134 of those back. Now I could go through and look at what the cost savings was as well. If I said, hey, we spent $1 million and we saved 134 days, well, maybe that million saved me 5 million. It's an easy business case at that point. I'm going through and modeling these scenarios. So what my next step would be is to close out of this and look at this post-mitigated scenario, because that's where I'm at now. I saved you 134 days. So if I go in and look at this, I want to play my what-if scenarios. So I would go in and look at that activity and look at the tornado chart. Okay, you saved me 134 days, and I am pleased by that, but it's just not good enough. That's not going to do it for me. I need you to save me more. Well, can we do anything about these external approvals? Well, no, we can't do anything about the external approvals. Well, the clean and strip out, it would be the other area. Maybe we can get some value. So I can navigate to that in my project. Is there anything we can do? There's a possible system failure. Is there something we could do to alleviate that risk? Because right now, we've got a risk on there. And it looks like that 36 to 44 days is what's hurting us. So it's on the critical path. It's having a big effect. Is there anything we can do to reduce that duration? So if we could, we can look at mitigating. Maybe we can't mitigate and we have to go to a different area. But what the goal would be to do is focus on the areas maybe we could bring things back in line. If we can't, maybe we have to do something else. Maybe we have to resequence. Maybe we have to do something else. But at least we know, hey, based on everything we've done to mitigate, we're still about 60 days out. So we need a recovery plan that saves us 60 extra days. What are we going to do? So going through this, if I were to come through here and just randomly put some values in to see what it would do. Now, I'm just doing this to demonstrate. I haven't actually, we haven't gone through the steps, but if I looked at this and said, well, what are we going to do? You have to run through every time you make a change, and it's recommended you make 1 or 2 changes at a time, work slowly backwards, and then I'm going to add this curve to the distribution analyzer. So I'm moving fairly quickly here on these charts, but we've gone through these charts in other modules. The key is bring the chart up, generate a new one, add the curve to the analyzer, and then show the analyzer. So now I've got another curve up. So I'm going to hide the worst case scenario, the red curve now, and at an 80% confidence level, I saved you 10 more days. So we already know we saved 134 days. Now we saved 10 more days. So we needed to go back 206 days, and we've gone ahead and we've gone back all the way to 144 of those days. And if I looked at a 50% confidence level, I can see how much I've saved as well. We're working to an 80% confidence level for our management to be satisfied though. So now what I would do is take that yellow line and do a save as. And since I've rerun this curve, I can close out of the histogram. I can right click and show my new drivers. So I'm going to show my logical predecessors. You can see clean strip out has been removed. Now it's external approvals up top. Now it may get to the point, hey, we can't compress anything, we can't mitigate anything. It shows that you're going to have to use other methods then. You're going to have to fast track, you're going to have to crash, you're going to have to resequence. Maybe you're going to have to look at, instead of mitigating one activity, mitigate a group. I've got 100 activities for a contractor. We could bring in another contractor and change the values for a whole set of 100 activities. So each one shows up kind of low, but we could reduce the group. This is giving you that ammunition to say, hey, we need to do something. This is why. This S-Curve analyzer is really going to show us why we need to do certain things. So this is where you're trying to go with this. This is it's not an easy process. A lot of times it's slowly working backwards. If you can do this with an interactive group and you can get the team to say, well, what if, and every time they say what if, you show them a new curve, you know, then when I report the final curve, I might just show if this yellow line was acceptable. The red curve was the worst case. I'm showing you the worst case so you know it's real, you know it existed. But I'm showing you the yellow line because we gave you a path forward, a proactive steps to save you 144 days. So I know the other example was unacceptable, but right now, based on what we're seeing, we can save you 144 days. Now, the report may say, hey, we need to save an extra 50 days though. However, at least I can go in and say I've given you proactive scenarios to save 144 days. So if you have faith in the inputs, you have faith in the schedule, now that 206 days is real, but you're going to accept it because I've told you how to fix it. So this to me is the most useful chart in any risk workshop. When you can get the team they're not worried about stats or anything else. They're just saying, what if we do this? Okay, the charts say this, what if we do this? And you just keep generating curves. And this is where the team buys in. And really, every risk analysis I've seen, this is where it becomes an interactive process and people buy in and they go, wow, there is actually value here. Monte Carlo isn't worthless. It's the way we've been doing it that we're not getting full value from it and full buy-in. So this is bridging the gap in between statistics and scheduling and risk and all that and the project team. Let's take risk analysis out of that silo and bring the team and get their input, their buy-in, their involvement. So once again, this is a quick overview for a very difficult process. We're going to step back maybe 10, 20 times. But how you present this is critical. I do present the worst case usually, so I know people know it exists. Then I can show them how I fixed it. I wouldn't show them every step backwards because it's too much information, but I could say, hey, we did all these steps and we were able to save 144 days. That 144 days cost us $4 million. We think that's an estimated savings of $6.5 million. Will you accept those mitigation steps because it will save you $6.5 million? Generally, it's a no-brainer at that point. If you have a cost-loaded model, some of that data will come out for you. So I could see the cost charts here. So I can show someone that. Even if it's a quick and dirty cost loading, I can show that. But a lot of times people look at 144 days. They know what the burn rate is. They know how much they're saving. And if you tell them what the mitigation cost was, it's a quick cost-benefit analysis. So this is where we've been leading up to and trying to go. We'll do a couple more charts in other modules, but really, if you can do this well in a group, you really will win people over, and you're going to get your team to buy in and make smarter decisions and more proactive decisions moving forward.